Hey there, YouTubers. Thanks for joining me today. This is Daniel Strong with Excel VBA is fun. Today we're going to work on a wizard in a user form. That's right. Whenever you're installing files, you always see these things that say click next or click back or click cancel. And we're going to work on making one of those for a very simple purpose. We're going to add a name, an address, and a phone number and pile it on in our database. However, we will not be able to click next until we've entered the name, and then it'll go to the next menu. And then when you enter the address, you'll have to click next. And if you click next and it's blank, it will say you can't go. You can go back, but you can't go forward until you enter an address. And it's just a cool way to well, we'll make a wizard and we'll show you what it's all about. I'm going to go ahead and get started and hit Alt F11 to go to the Visual Basic Editor, and you can see that I've got something from one of my previous lessons here. I'm just going to go ahead and insert a new user form. Right off the bat, we have a new user form. It's all pretty. Here's our toolbox. If you don't see the toolbox, go to View and click on the toolbox. That'll give you this thing here. Very handy. So for our wizard, let's just resize this a little bit here, and we will call this wizard. We'll call it wizard nap. That's name, address, phone number that we're doing here. So now we have that. Let's get this nasty caption off of there by double clicking on the caption. By the way, if that's gone, you need to hit F4 or go to View and get your properties window. I'm going to hit F4 and there's your properties. I'm going to double click on the caption and we're just going to say name, address, phone, wizard. Well, goodness, if I could find the W. Name, address, phone, wizard. Okay, we're ready to get started. So, what's the secret behind this? Well, really, what a wizard is nothing more than either a tab strip or more likely a multi-page, and I'll show you what that is. We'll just click a multi-page, and as you can see here, there's multiple pages, and you can right click there and click on new page. You can also right click and delete a page or rename or move one and change the order. So we know that page 3 is actually the phone number tab, and I'm just renaming these. Right click, hit the letter R, because you notice R was underlined. You can have control tip text. You can have an accelerator key, so I'll show you that. Accelerator key can be the letter A, or you could put a D and have that be underlined, whatever. Control tip, enter address, just to show you what this does. We're not actually going to keep these, and I'll show you what I mean. The first one is name. That's just for me to know. You notice that when I hover over the one we just did, the address, it says enter address. And you notice the letter A is underlined. That means if you hit Alt and the letter A, it would switch over to that tab because the A is underlined. If you had the D underlined, then the D would be the key to do that. So we have name, address, phone. So how does a wizard work? Typically, there's a couple buttons. You see I clicked on the command button. Whoops, don't want to double click just yet. Double click on wizard nap here. And I'm just going to change the caption. I can do that directly here, or I can go over and change the caption there. I'm just going to say next, and we'll click on that, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. I want a next, and I want a back button. And then I'm going to grab both of those, and we will Control V to paste. Obviously I Control C copied both of them, and then you'll see whenever I click they may not be aligned right. Okay, these two aren't aligned, so these ones were pretty much matching. So let's take these and try to reposition them, see if they match. Oh, now it's too far to the left, so we'll take them one to the right, and then when we click away, if they're seamless. Okay, now one thing is the first one, there is no back button. There's only next. Second one, there's a back and a next. Third one, there is a back There's not a next. There's a finish, or something like that. Okay. So we need to program some different things regarding this particular tab strip here, or multi-page, excuse me. If you click away, let's see if it's even possible to click away. I'm just showing click away on the user form. If I click here, it says page 1, and if I click there, it's page 2 and page 3, and the name of this is multi-page 1. We can rename that, of course, just like we can rename page 1 by clicking there and typing over it. So maybe I will rename it. I'll click on the edge there, and I'm going to call it, heck, let's just leave it multi-page 1. Forget that. Anyway, I'm just going to move this boundary over here. Don't let me forget, that's multi-page 1. Okay, so here's a few things that we're going to do. We're going to name this button in a moment. We're going to get some labels here. We're going to put some text box, and we're going to say name, and we'll scooch our text box there, make that a little wider, and then of course we'll do that with our other tabs. It's just a way of fitting more space in this same area. And what we'll do for our wizard is actually we're going to end up hiding these 3 strips, so it just looks like the only way to go forward is next, and in fact it is. You can't click here or here. So we're going to copy and paste that, Control C, and it looks like we already copied that one. Let's type over that address. Whoops. And phone, and of course this is a little bit crude. It's a little bit sloppy. But I'm teaching you concepts. I'm not teaching you art necessarily. You can design these a lot better than this, but I'm just showing you how it works. Okay, do a little housekeeping here. We're going to call this TB name. We'll click on this one. Now, I'm not going to double click there. I'm going to hit F4 to repeat the last area that I want to select. If I hit F4 and I start typing, if you look right here, it will allow me to type TB address. So yeah, check that out. That's a nice tip, because if you're clicking on one button and hitting F4 and click another one, hit F4, it takes, so you don't have to click here and then double click there or highlight this. So I'm going to click here, hit F4, and start typing TB phone. It's a time saver, guys. Alright, now more housekeeping is this button. So we'll hit F4 and type BTN next, and that's our first next button. I guess we could give them other names, but F4 button back, first one. This one's going to be button next. It's the second next button. This one is BTN back 2. And this is F4 BTN finish. Okay, we got all our stuff labeled. These, you don't have to label the labels unless you're wanting to do something with them. So, how are we going to get all that on here? We're going to wrap it up a little bit here. So, with somebody, ideally, they're going to type something in here. Otherwise, either the next button is going to stay invisible, or at least when it's clicked, you know, how about when it's clicked, it QCs the user. If it's blank, then it'll say you can't put that. So let's click on the next button, or double click there to get into our button next one click event. So if that's clicked, here's what it does. I'm going to say if me dot button next one equals blank, then message box. We'll do a message box that says enter name. And we're going to have it go to the end, or exit sub would work, but I always have an ending thing there. I don't know, maybe a bad habit. Anyway, let's Control C to copy that stuff there. Why? Because we can rehash that message a little bit. Just tweak it a little bit. Let's click on next for the next this button here. So if the next to button equals blank, then we're going to say enter address. Gosh, if I could type today. Enter address. And just go ahead and go to the ending. And we didn't do the otherwise, did we? How about, okay, this is where those page names come in handy. So otherwise, we're going to say otherwise. So if the next button on the first screen was not blank, so the otherwise statement would be, proceed. And you don't have to type this, but I'm just making a little note. You can type a little apostrophe and make your notes there. I'm going to say, me dot, what was the multi-page called? It was called multi-page 1. We could have renamed that. Me dot multi-page 1 dot page, well, what was that page called? Oh, well, we could use the value. Also, there's a way to use the names of the pages. It might be this. Let me try this. Let me try page 1. Maybe dot select. It's been a while since I've done this. That probably is not going to work. Let's, we'll show you the other way in just a second. Let's go ahead and hit F5, open up our user form. I'm going to hit next, and there is a type mismatch here. So something's wrong. Interesting. Oh, the button. I meant to do the... Okay, I see what I did wrong there. me.tb, the text box next one, not the button next one. Forgive me, folks. So if the text box is blank, then it'll say enter the name. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now what? Mercy. Oh dear God. me.tb name, not next one. Now let's hit F8 and debug. So it is blank, in fact. So the message box is going to say enter name, and it will not let me proceed. It's going to go to the ending and skip anything else. Okay. Now the other test is if it's not blank. So I'm going to hit next. So let's debug through that. Then me.multipage1 and then page1.select. Okay. So it didn't like that. Let's use the other method for right now. We're not using the name. So let's check this out. Dot value. me.multipage1.value equals 1. Why 1? I thought we were on page 1. No, right now the value is 0. Check this out. I'm going to go ahead and close that down and show you. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. You can rearrange them by right-clicking and going to move, but check this out. By default, whatever the first tab is the value of 0. I can prove it to you. I've selected the first one. I will select the multi-page 1, and let's go down to the value is 0. If I click here to the apparently second page of the multi-page, I look at the value is now 1, and furthermore, the phone is, of course, the value of 2. So to move on from here, what do? We make the value 1 because right now it's 0. So, yes, awesome. So that brings me to my next point. If I click on this back button, then what do we want to do? me.multipage1.value equals, we're going back to page 0, right? So let's test those little ditties out here, okay? So I'm going to say, if it's blank, it says enter the name. If it's not blank, then if I click next, it will take me to the next page. If I click back, it'll take me to 0, right? Click back. Yay, that's working. Alright, now, we have not programmed anything on that button, I don't believe, or we did, but it was inaccurate. Let's go ahead and rig this one up here. me.tb address. If that's blank, then say enter address, and then we didn't do the else yet, so let's do the else. Otherwise, me.multipage So if it's not blank, me.multipage1.value equals 2, which is actually page 3 in our minds, but it's got the value of 2. So let's hit F5, enter address. Oh no. Alright. So 1, 2, 3 test suite. Hit next. And now it lets us. Now this back button doesn't have anything programmed into it, nor does the finish. The finish would put it on the database there, or whatever you want to do. Send a message box. I don't know what you people want to do. So let's go ahead and go back to our editor here by exiting the user form. I'm going to save my workbook just for good measure. What have we not programmed yet? The next button here, right? Or have we? Maybe we have. We have. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. No, I'm not. Alright, now click on the last tab there, the phone number. Okay, let's see. Our back button is pretty simple. me.multipage1.value equals 1, because we want to go to the second page, which is value of 1. So that back button is easy, but we have to restrict the finishing to make sure that this one is now not blank. And we'll do that in the same way that the other ones were, but then after all that's said and done, we probably want to close the user form, or hide it at least, or maybe even clear out all 3 text boxes for the next entry, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. Just think ahead, and then maybe if you want somebody to keep entering data, then you'd probably want the multi-page one.value to be 0 again, and to have this text box, this text box, this text box to equal double quotes, meaning to make it blank. Maybe .clear would work too, but the idea is to, in this case, to plop it in this database. So that's our goal right now. So let's double click here. If me.tbphone equals blank, then message box, we're going to say enter phone, typical QC stuff, go to ending, else, otherwise we need to get our last row for that page. So without declaring any variables, we'll just we'll go through some of the last row stuff here that you may have already seen in some of my videos. We're going to get this workbook.sheets, and then the wizard page.cells, and we're going to get the rows.count, .end xl up, .row. It's going to be our last row. And we're always going to one-up that to put it on a new row, basically. So that's our new row. Why don't we just put in our new row? Okay. Then we're going to plop those values. So let's copy this part. This workbook.sheets wizard cells. Okay, what's the row we're using? NR. What's the column we're using? Column 1 for the name. That is going to be equal to me.tb name. And let's copy that a couple times. Control C, Control V, V, V. Okay. So the second column on that worksheet is going to be me.tb address. If that capitalizes the A, then I'm right. Yes, I spelled it right. Third column is going to be me.tb phone. Hit tab there. That's it. Yeah, that would copy down there. And then we might even want to clear the text boxes. Me.tb name equals, so clear that one. Me.tb address equals this. Me.tb phone equals double quotes. And then we'll shift tab and say end if, because we have our if, otherwise, and we have to end that if statement. And then we have to have ending with a colon, because we have somewhere that goes to that place, and we have to have that place. We should probably try this out. Oh, also at the end, we want to return to page 1. So me.multipage1.value equals 0. And let's try that. Hit F5. So right now we can click around, but when we complete the wizard, we'll just have these 3 be hidden or whatever. So the name is Dan, and I'm going to hit next. Yay, it worked. Address 123 test drive. Hit next, and you notice our handy dandy back buttons do work at this time. And phone is going to be 555-24 whatever 2659. Yeah. Click finish, and remember our code is going to plop it on the next available row. Hit finish. Hey, check that out. It did it. And it returned me to the name page, and everything appears to be cleared out. However, now I'm going to get picky with you. I want the name text box to automatically be flashing and ready to keep typing on. So how do I do that? Let's do that really quick. You know, if you're going to do it right. So at the very end of this code, if it is ready to rock, then we say, we're going to select the text box for the name. me.tbname.setFocus. That's how you do that. You set the focus on that text box. Okay, let's go through that one more time. So the first page is blah. Hit next. Notice if I hit next again, it'll say enter address. There's your address for you. Hit next. And your phone number is another phone number. And you could also have it QC and say, hey, that's too many digits, or it's not enough, or reformat, or all this stuff. So I'm going to click finish, and now when I click finish, it'll plop it onto our database. But now you see that the name is selected, so I could immediately start typing. That's pretty cool, right? If I hit enter, right now the tab order is all messed up, but that's another video. So what I want it to be is when I hit enter, it'll go to this, and if I hit enter, it will activate that button. So all I have to do is hit enter and enter. But I think the tab order is this, and then it goes to select this, and then it would go there. So anyway, so now, the end of the wizard. How do we get rid of these pesky tabs? We're not really getting rid of them, but we're just hiding them. So here's how that's done. We're going to go down to our properties for this multi-page. So you select the outside rim of the multi-page to make sure that multi-page 1 is selected. And again, you can change the back color, make it all blue or purple, something weird like that, or change the font type or anything that you want. But what we're going to want to do, let's see, is, I believe this style. Let's see, you can change it to buttons, or they look like buttons. Or what we're doing for a wizard is, crap, where'd that go? Whoops, click back on your multi-page. We want to do the style none, which is the last one. So the multi-page 1 dot style is the value 2. The default was the value 0. So really, we could even leave it like this. Let's experiment for a second. So that the actual default value of the style is 0, but when the user form starts, it becomes the value of 2, so that nobody even knows that these ever existed. Double click here. Let's go to user form, and let's go to initialize. That is when the user form starts. And let's do this. When the user form starts, we're going to have me.multipage1.style equal to, you could put the number 2, or you could click on tab style none, FM tab style none. Either way, this is going to have the value of 2. We saw that here. Or you could type in this actual word. But here's what happens. When the user form when we're editing it, it has this these things showing, but when we open it, the initialization prompt or script tells it to change this to hidden. So let's open it up, and there you have a wizard. You can't click anywhere. You can only use the next or the back tabs. Dan, next. Oh, I can't go next, can I? Oh no, I can go back. I meant to say Daniel, not Dan. And the address is 555 Billy Avenue. Next, and I can go back and forth. This is awesome. Phone number is 573-494-56233. Hit finish. And what do you know? We're back to the first page of the wizard. And we can't go any further until we enter a name. So that's how to enter a very simple, basic wizard. You can do all kinds of crazy, awesome things. So, everybody, thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. That was a long one, but trust me, this is going to be worth it. That's pretty cool, right? Make your own data entry forms. And you can very much customize these and do a lot more stuff than that. That's a basic version, but thank you for watching.